Good morning, guys, and welcome to the inaugural first episode of Wednesdays with Legs McPhee, or Dar Awesome, or whatever. Working title. I don't know. Um, I'm just gonna talk for a few minutes about things every week. I'm just gonna be, just talking, shooting the shit, doing what I do. We got some interesting topics for today. You're gonna be excited, so straddle in, okay? So we're gonna be talking about Goodnight Pun Pun, uh, Eve Fartlow, and 90 Day Fiance. I know. Calm down, calm down. Um, these are just random things I've been interested in. I'll go into a deeper dive on them when I talk about them. But I'm excited. This is gonna be fun. I hope I keep on doing this every week. I'm just doing this because I want to get thoughts out and talk to something. Even if it is no one, it'll be fun. And yeah, that's it. Hope you'll join in. Okay, so the first topic we're going to talk about today is Eve Fartlow, or also known as Eve Barlow. Um, this is something that, for a few days ago, caught my fucking attention like a bullet. Like this was so funny and so fascinating that this happened, and I haven't talked about it much, and I wanted to get my thoughts out. You know, Everyone wants to know, hey, Dar Awesome, what's your opinion on this thing? And I have to give the people what they want. So this is me giving the people what they want. So Eve Barlow is, I guess, some journalist. It's just some person who writes articles, right? She just writes stuff, posts it online, and that's it, right? But another thing is that she's Jewish, I think, and a Zionist. So that's the anyone who knows me knows that I'm pro-Palestine. I We all know Israel is committing an ethnic cleansing and ethnic displacing of the Palestinian people in Gaza and in the West Bank. They're rocketing and sending missiles to a bunch of areas and killing a bunch of Palestinian people. And I hate Zionists. Zionists are pieces of shit. So I hate this woman, right? But what I like more than hating Zionists is making fun of them. That's something I just always like more. And um, this specific Zionist, it's not like she's a special Zionist. There's, like hundreds of Zionists out there, right? Or millions, whatever. But she made a tweet saying, my Jewish friend saw a sign that said free parking and panicked that it said free Palestine. The Jews are tired. And I'll flash it on screen so you can see it. This is fascinating to me. Because in this tweet, right, she is complaining or she's like complaining on behalf of a friend who is like panicking at the sight of free Palestine posters. Oh, Palestinian people are oppressed. No, I can't. No, and she's like, I mean, her friend is so panicked and so distraught and paranoid about these free Palestine posters that she's like looking at free parking signs, just a normal free parking sign, metal plate that's hung up there, and she thought, or they thought it was free Palestine. Like that's how paranoid they are. That's how like insane they are about all these people asking for human rights. And at the end, the phrase "the Jews are tired." My God, I can't imagine anything like more condescending. Like, oh, they're tired of seeing posters. They're tired of seeing signs and stuff. So those are my personal thoughts on the tweet. But another thing, the tweet is insanely stupid and funny. Like, come on, dude, really? So of course, people want to make fun of her, and I feel like the best way to engage with shit like this is not to argue with them and not to provide a detailed explanation or conversation, because it won't work. It won't work. She isn't changing her mind. Um, she is like openly a Zionist, and if you're openly a Zionist, that means you understand full well what's going on and how Israel is massacring people, but you're fine with it because you want the Jewish state to take over. So if you identify as a Zionist, then that's it. There's no changing your mind. Maybe through some experience or maybe someone close to you can change it, but some dude on Twitter replying to you isn't gonna change your mind. So instead, I think the good people on Twitter, came up with a great nickname called Eve Fartlow. Eve Fartlow. It's perfect. It rolls off the tongue. Because her last name is Barlow, and you just replace a few letters and it says Fartlow. It's perfect. It's genius. And then so many people started just replying, Eve Fartlow, Eve Fartlow, your name is Eve Fartlow. I partook in it. I'm not gonna lie. It was fun. I'm going in. I went in on replying Eve Fartlow. And, you know, this grew up and up and up, and a lot more people, right? And normal micro celebrities or not influencers, but just micro people who have like a few followers, right? The normal reaction to this is either one, go along with the joke, so you seem kind of cool, or two, just leave your screen and just go outside and ignore it and forget about it, because complaining about it isn't gonna make it any better. They already trying to make you mad. If you show that you're mad, that's it. That's it. They got you hook, line, and sinker, and they're gonna keep on calling you E Fartlow, right? Um, so this might be old news, but whatever. She wrote an article about this cavalcade of people calling her E Fartlow, and the article is goddamn hilarious. Just today actually, I've heard about the article, but just today I've researched what the article was, and I read over it, and my God, it's funny. It's just very funny. So I'll like put the article on screen. But the title of the article is The Social Media Pogrom. And at first I didn't know what pogrom is because I'm a fucking idiot. I don't know what words mean. So I googled it, and pogrom, according to the Oxford Languages Dictionary or something, is an organized massacre of a particular ethnic group, in particular that or of the Jewish people in Russia or Eastern Europe, right? So it's a massacre. And in her perspective, people calling her Eve Fartlow is the social media pogrom. Like the equivalent of getting massacred is getting called Fartlow. So off the bat, we know that she just didn't win. Like she's mad. She's very mad. She's annoyed. She's mad, and she's not happy. And she has some quotes in the article like hundreds of trolls, some with blue ticks and some without, just start responding to me, Eve Fartlow. Some people have recently switched to Eve Shartlow, but Eve Fartlow seems to be the one that sticks. Man, that's fucking hilarious. I had never heard of Eve Shartlow, but that's fucking hilarious. She's not running from rocket fire. She's not surrounded by senseless violence. Let's ratio her. She's getting ratioed, guys. Due to the juvenile nature of this E. Fartlow attack, which sounds like it was invented by a 3-year-old high on Pop Tarts, I wondered if the bombardment of E. Fartlow tweets was engineered to drive me insane. Insane, you know? Like in this sentence, it goes along very well with the whole idea of making the enemy weak and strong. It's weak because like it's an insult that a 30-year-old would make. It's an insult that like a 13-year-old would make. Why would you ever admit to going insane about an insult that a 13-year-old would make? Like why? And like she admits it. Like she's going insane. She says she's going insane because people are calling her Eve Fartlow. She says, perhaps it was a form of digital waterboarding aimed at forcing me to surrender, delete all my accounts, log out of all my devices, and commit digital suicide. Commit digital suicide. I I'm blown away about this type of comparison. Like that's an interesting thing. I think if you are seeing signs of you should leave the internet, and you're comparing that to being committing like digital suicide, just fucking get out. Go outside, please. Just go outside. Log off. Log off. Just leave. This is just not good for you. But I wouldn't tell her to log off because it's very funny, and I'm having a lot of fun reading all over this. She continues saying, Eve Fartlow is not my name, regardless of how many thousand of times it's echoed back at me by trolls online. But unfortunately for the troll army, Eve Barlow isn't my real name either. And she goes on to explain her Jewish people have faced discrimination. She changed her name due to some ethnic problems with anti-Semitism or whatever, and that's valid, that's fair. But Eve Fartlow is still funny, and you're still mad about it. So that's like the most important thing. She says later on in the article, Eve Fartlow is an intimidation tactic, a playground jibe meant to drown out my voice online. My words must be silenced as quickly as possible by the hammer and sickle emoji comrades who love humanity so much they want anyone who threatens their concept of utopia to kill themselves. It's all peace and love and openness until someone wants to have a conversation. Is she saying she's suicidal because of Eve Fartlow? Is she saying that? I think she's saying that. She's saying that these people calling her Eve Fartlow is gonna make her want to kill herself. That's not good. That's not good. Look, I'm gonna be imagining I'm talking to her right now. If Eve Farlow's listening, which she isn't, but if she's listening, perhaps by the chance she's listening, please log off. Please log off. This isn't good for your mental health. Hey, I hate Zionists. I really fucking hate Zionists. I don't want you to kill yourself. I don't want that. That's sad. Human life is valuable, and it'd be sad if you killed yourself. Please leave the internet. Don't talk about this anymore. Don't do anything relating to this. It's over. You lost. You got made fun of. You got made fun of to all hell, and that's it. There's nothing else you can do. You know? Please don't talk about committing yourself. Please don't say shit like that. That's bad. But god fucking damn is it hilarious, dude. It's so funny. And people obviously after this article was written kept on spamming a fartlow at her. You know, like okay, so she clarified that her new nickname, her real not new nickname, her real last name is Berilovich. And then I started seeing people calling her Eve Berillo bitch. There's no winning. There's no winning. The only way you can win is by either stop being a Zionist and stop being a piece of shit who ignores the lives of millions of people getting killed, right? Stop doing that, and also, the other way to win is just leave the internet. That's it. This would have died out if you just logged off. That's it. It would have died out. Um, I think that's all I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read one more sentence. In the streets of major cities around the world, Jews have been targeted with fireworks, with fists, and with human spit. Who knew this could happen? Well, we did, and we tried to make noise about it. And this, the equivalent of getting attacked, getting stores burned down, getting spit on, and getting, hurt and massacred and hate crimes. The comparison of this is that being called E Fartlow is also equivalent to that. And I want to make it clear, just in case we have any losers listening who don't understand politics and understand stuff. Um, Being a Zionist does not mean you're shielded from criticism. I mean, being Jewish does not mean you're shielded from criticism of the Israel state. Israel does not represent the views of all Jewish people. Jewish people, there's a plenty of community-led Jewish groups who are vocally against Israel and the actions the Israeli government is doing, right? And there's plenty of people who are against what Israel's doing, who are Jewish and non-Jewish, and I don't think it's anti-Semitic and the equivalent of committing a pogrom against the Jewish people, where by criticizing Israel. But I'm not criticizing Israel by calling her Farlow. I'm just calling her Farlow because it makes her mad. Because I'm a fucking nerd. I'm a fucking loser who goes online and insults people. I'm a troll. I'm a troll. You know. And if you fall for that, that's just on you. I can't feel bad for you. I will never feel bad for you. If you feel suicidal because of it, I won't feel bad for you. But you should log off because I don't want you to die. But that's off the course. Um, I'll read one more thing here. She says, if you're a Zionist, you are not deemed worthy of dialogue. Most people who think this couldn't give you working definitions of Zionism. They just know which labels are accepted by intersectional world and which labels are not. Anti-Zionism good, Zionism bad, except Zionism is globally recognized concept, whereas anti-Zionism doesn't seem to have a agreed upon definition. Okay, let me be clear, right? Zionism does not. You're not born a Zionist. You aren't. Being a Zionist isn't a part of your identity. Being the Zionist means you support the Israeli government's actions against the Palestinian people. That's what it means, So, yes, I don't think there's any room for dialogue with a Zionist where I'm going to agree with some things they say. There will never be. The only way the dialogue could happen is if you start not being a Zionist and you change your mind by hearing other people talk. But yeah, that I'm going to be done. This is hilarious. Um Oh, yeah, yeah, this is just funny. A lot of people kept on attacking her. This article obviously didn't help lessen the amount of hate she got. But yeah, of course it didn't. It's the first time she'll learn this. Maybe in the future, next time people call her like P. Barlow or something, she won't write an article about it. And that's it. Yeah, that was the first topic of today. So I kind of went on a pretty long tangent about Eve Fartlow. So this one's gonna be a little bit shorter. This little section of our conversation today is gonna be shorter. It's gonna be about 90 Day Fiance. 90 Day Fiance is just something I've been watching recently, and not just watching, being obsessed with. It's fucking amazing. It's a great show. It's garbage, right? It's bad. The producers of the show are bad people. They're ruining relationships. We're watching people in unfortunate situations and we're mocking them and we're laughing at them. It's bad. But I'm a bad person, I guess, and I just enjoy this, and it's funny. I think it's fun to watch this. Um, it's addicting. It's very addicting. I'm falling for the trap, but there's no point in admitting and denying it. I'm a full-on 90 Day Fiance fan. It's an incredibly it's an incredibly addicting show. It's very interesting. It's very funny. It's amazing. It's just great. It's it. It's just great. So the reason I recently started watching is because Hassan, a Twitch streamer, was watching it, and I watched it with him, and he's a funny dude, and I like watching stuff on Twitch. And I kind of got very hooked on his viewing of it. And when he stopped, I would continue watching it on my own, and everything about it is just encapsulating my mind because it's. I'm sorry, I dropped something, but it's just um a scenario that you can't possibly imagine things getting worse and things flip and change and like the drama's thick and intense and the scenarios and like the scenes that happen, it's impossible to believe that these people are like ruining their lives and going insane while there's just a dude with a camera watching there and being like, yeah, yeah, keep it running, in the last season I watched was with a southern woman. She has two children. She has a racist dad and a pretty racist family, and she's marrying a Dominican. Someone from the Dominican Republic. And at first they always give you this slight hint of hope that something good could happen. This relationship could work out, and maybe at the end it's it. They're in love and they're together for and happily ever after. But if that was true, then they wouldn't get any content. So you know that as you're watching this, shit's about to fucking go down, and it's gonna fucking suck, but you're gonna love watching it. And of course, shit goes down. Her parents don't accept the marriage because he's a Dominican Republic, and also because they don't trust him, right? Her children don't accept her as a stepdad because she met him online or she met him in like in a few trips, and now they're marrying each other. And also he is a bad stepdad. He's a bad stepdad. He's just really bad at being a stepdad. He's really bad at being a fatherly figure. He's like 20 something. He's in his late 20s. And he thought it was a good idea to move to another country with a woman that he says he's in love with two children, and become a father. Becoming a father, I imagine, is a very hard thing to do, and it's not something you should just do on a whim because you like a girl. Um, but he did it, right? And the first thing he does, which is so fucking funny, but the first thing he does when he meets the daughter, right, is start like asking, "I'm your new father now," saying like telling like a little girl, like she's in like a toddler, right, just telling a toddler, "I'm your new father now," and of course the toddler said, "No, you're not. I don't know who you are. I only love my mom. I don't love you." Of course the toddler would say that. It's a toddler, right? How do you expect a child to just take you as their father like that, like in a snap of your fingers? Um, and he's distraught. Like it's so funny because a normal person, like a normal, well-adjusted man, would just be like, "Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that is true. That's a toddler. Why would she? Why would she accept me as her father? I was just here for like a few days, you know." But he doesn't. He doesn't take it that way. He takes it offense. He takes offense at it, and he dislikes the children. Like throughout the rest of the show, he slowly becomes more and more hateful towards the children. And not only does he dislike the children for not liking him, he starts being a bad influence with them. He starts being like, "Yeah, fuck, tell your mom to fuck off, have sex with people, all this shit." Being like he's a shitty influence when the mom or like the woman is expecting a husband, right? And man, I'm just going on a rant about this, but he gets worse. He gets more closed off. He becomes more shitty. He starts speaking in Spanish, and he regrets doing this, and it's the worst mistake of his life. Um, but like, you know, the fascinating thing is that he manages to marry her behind the backs of the 90 Day Fiance producers, which is insane. It's like unheard of. They're like eyes of heaven. They're watching everything. The fact that he managed to do that behind the backs is insane. And he got what he wanted. He married and he left. Right? They had a big fight. He started saying shit like, you have the demon in your house. And like she's complaining about him not being there for the family and there for the children and stuff. Like it's just sad to see, right? But the thing is that so he leaves. She asks him to leave the house, and he goes. But then she asks him. They make up again, and they try to get back together and make things work out. And in the apology, where he's like saying sorry to the daughters, right? He apologizes, and the children just don't say anything. And then the mom says like, "Oh, now like it's like you're not saying anything, right? You're not saying anything. The toddler isn't saying anything." And like the stepdad says, "Oh yeah, now you're shutting up. Normally you're like blah 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 blah, moving your mouth, but now when I want to apologize, you don't say anything. I wish you were always like this." Like he says something like that, and like holy shit, why the fuck is this woman not telling him, "Fuck off, get out of my house. You're fucking mocking my child. You're mocking my child and saying why don't you always shut the fuck up, you know?" Um, and and yeah, it never worked out. They were awful together, right? And then it ended, and that's the end of the show. But one interesting thing about it I wanted to mention is that her brother, like the woman's brother, the conservative woman's brother, right, has a beautiful relationship with the Dominican Republic man. Like a beautiful relationship. I think he's gay. I think he's gay. I think he went there, realized he's gay, and hated his marriage and stuff. That's just my opinion. I'm gonna toss it out there. They went to strip clubs together. They bonded together. Every scene where they were both together, it was beautiful. It was like watching a beautiful bromance. But again, he's a piece of shit. I'm not trying to give him sympathy, but I think he was gay. I know. I'm just saying he was a bit queer coded. He was a bit fruity. Uh, and that's it. That's just my obsession with 90 Day Fiance. I might chill out and not watch it anymore because it is brain damage. It is very bad for your head if you just watch stuff like this. So instead, I'm gonna watch some good content, like boring video essays about the philosophy behind Asuka being attracted to someone or something. I don't know, some dumb shit about Ava. That's what I'll watch. That's how I'm gonna rewire my brain into being a smart boy again. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about today is actually kind of emotional, kind of cute, and kind of heartwarming. It's about Goodnight Punpun, a manga that I've been reading because I saw it on a TikTok once about good mangas that you should read, and now I'm gonna read it. And I've been reading it for the past few days, and I'm very, very, very in love with it. It's an amazing manga. Um, you guys might not know, but I'm a pretty emotional person. I experience emotions a lot, and I do like artsy, emotional, cute stuff like that, like this manga that's called Goodnight Pump or whatever. I do like it a lot, and I get sad, I cry about with it. I laugh with it when something good happens. I smile when something bad happens. I'm sad, and I do connect with it a lot, and I connect with a lot of stuff a lot. It's just the type of dude I am. You know. Um, so I'm reading this, and I wanted to like, give a little intro and recommendation to it, and also just get my thoughts out on it. It's a romance, coming of age story about a little dude, like a kid, who's called Pun Pun, and all of the universe of this story is just all photorealistic normal people, right? But Pun Pun is a tiny little bird ghost thing with hands and legs that are like drawn like a little kid would draw it. And all of Pun Pun's family is drawn in the same way. His mom, dad, uncle, everyone, right? And the story is about it's a coming of age thing. It's him falling in love. It's about him discovering himself. It's about him dealing with his own emotional problems with his family and stuff. And it's something that not only relates to me a lot, but it's also just so well told in a way that it's so easy to relate to, you know? I think the choice of making Pun Pun a little inanimate thing is a pretty. I think it's a deliberate one to make the reader just. It could be anyone. It could be you. It's not a specific person. This person doesn't have a real name. This person's called Pun Pun, and Pun Pun could be anyone. And and the story is just so beautifully told. And the first thing that caught my attention, right, the thing that all like that got me hooked and got me starting to read Pun Pun and all this stuff was the art. The art is incredible. The art is very good. Um, I am gonna put up some art on the screen, but the art is just such is drawn in a way where there are obvious manga things, but then there's just black and white pictures. Like he took a picture of something and then scanned it onto the page, right? So you have this huge contrast between the little cartoon main character, the beautifully drawn normal human people of it, and then the very photorealistic objects and zoom ins of people's faces, And this gives some type of ethereal cosmic feeling to the thing, and cosmic is a good way to describe it because there is a through line, an obsession with space and the cosmos, and comparing self-discovery to a discovery of space and the universe, and I do think that's very beautiful. So I'll only show pictures from the first few chapters, right? So in the story, Pum Pum believes in God, and this is a pretty funny thing. Whenever Pum Pum prays to God, a weird picture of a man pops up who's smiling and wearing glasses, and he has a very big smile. Pops up, and that's God, and he talks like that, right? And every time Pum Pum is confused and has a question and wants advice, he always says a little prayer, and God comes up out of nowhere and talks to him. And it's hilarious. This manga is really funny. This manga has everything. It's funny, it's scary, it's adorable, it's emotional. And one of these parts are an example of one of the funny parts. Whenever God asks something or speaks to Pun Pun, it's like in these huge letters, and Pun Pun is just seen being like flowing through this universe of God, and God's just speaking to him. And it's just very interesting to imagine this perspective of Pun Pun. It's like you're on a drug trip, right? But like I don't like to compare things like a drug trip because like, oh, it just means it's trippy. But this feels very trippy in a sense of it gives a very strong vibe. It's not trippy just to be trippy. It gives a very strong vibe that I just can't put into words that you'll see in the pictures or you'll notice when you read it if you ever want to read it. But that's God. And another thing about Pun Pun I want to talk about is its scariness. It's fucking scary, bro. This cute little thing, right, has some random moments of horror and tense, and it actually gets me like anxious and stuff. Like for example, Pun Pun like does a little fake out where he thinks he forgot his homework, and his teacher goes on a flipping crazy manic rant where he starts screaming, bashing his head on the table, saying he's gonna kill Pun Pun and all this stuff, and gonna break his back or whatever, right? And then he discovers that Pun Pun actually did his homework, and then everything's turned back to normal. And that's it. It's never explained. It goes on to normal. All the teachers are like this. Every single teacher is like this. The principal of the school and the vice principal, right? Both play a game of hide and seek every day, and they just go around hiding, and they do this little weird, cute face, and they're just having fun like little schoolgirls. There's like a part in the show where they go to a scary a haunted place, like a haunted abandoned factory, right? And then they see ghosts, and it's like legitimately scary. It's very tense, and these kids are going through a lot of stuff, and it reveals a lot of backstory of the fellow friends that Pun Pun has, and all the tragic sadness that comes with it. And I do think this is largely a story about life, and I wouldn't think that this is just good for children to read. There's a lot of themes, a lot of adult themes that I think are useful for everyone. There's a lot of philosophical concepts about religion, God, purpose and meaning, love, emotions, and I think it's just drawn in a very well, like it's very drawn. It's drawn in a way that is very easy for you to relate to, but in a very deep way. Like maybe it's just me. Maybe not everyone can relate to this, but this is a very popular and well-known manga, so I hope other people relate to it as deeply as I do. But I'm watching this, and this is like, yeah, if I had to describe this feeling of loneliness or this feeling of sadness or this feeling of happiness when I meet someone or anything, right? It's through this. This is how it feels. This is exactly how it is, and that's why I connect so deeply to it. One of my favorite parts of the manga, or one of my favorite arts, which is like later on, and this is kind of a spoiler, so spoiler warning. If you want to read it, you should click off now. This is last topic, anyways. But Pun Pun, I'm gonna spoil it. Three, two, one. Spoiler alert is on. Pun Pun has a crush, and he's in love with this girl, right? And he's been very madly in love, and their relationship's kind of goofy. Where like he lies to her a bit, and then she says, "If you lie to me again, I'll kill you." But in a very cute and sappy way, where they're both hugging and they're both crying, and they're both very much in love. It's very cute, but they break up or something happens, and then um she no longer wants to interact with him, and Pum Pum's too afraid to confront her and talk about it. So they both go on their separate ways, and Pum Pum feels bad, and he runs away from home, and he gets lost into school. And and this is a quote from the thing. This is his thoughts. It's beautiful. It's like a beautiful sentence. But I'm gonna read it out right now. As the warm sunlight fell so softly on his skin, Pun Pun wondered if he were to evaporate like water as he closed his eyes and lied down, just how high he could fly. Um, if I could just get one wish, I would like a pair of wings. Please give me white wings, on my back like a bird. I want to spread my wings and fly across the wide open sky without any sadness, fly towards a free sky. I want to flap my wings and fly. Tsubasa wo kodasei. Oh, wait, that's just a song. My bad, that's just a song. And that ignore that last part, but that's it, yeah. And reading that, it's like comparing the sense of escapism of wanting to just leave and escape all the sadness as getting evaporated and getting reduced down to nothing. I think that's just beautiful. I think that's very relatable, and it's something that I've seen in many art forms. Like for example, "You'll Be in the Air" from the Glow Part Two. It's another album I really like. But and you know they use the metaphor of you'll be in the air, you'll evaporate into the sky, and you'll just be wind. And this way of metaphorically depicting wanting to escape, wanting to just leave, I think it's beautiful, and I think the art of little tiny pom poms flying through the sky with an umbrella matches it so well and in such a beautiful way. And this is the true art of Goodnight Pom Pom, and this is why I really want more people to read this because I want to talk to people about it. I want to have a conversation. I want to hear more about it because it's generally something that I was shocked that it was this good. Um, and yeah, that is probably it. That's everything I have to talk about. Thank you for listening this far in. I'm really happy you got to here. And if you did get to here, you're fucking cool. Good job, man. Um, I'll hope I can keep doing this every week. Um, I'll try to think about more things to talk about. Maybe talk about them in a more well-structured way. But I don't know if I either like to do a more scripted, more well-structured type of conversation with myself, or if I just rather talk to myself and hope people enjoy it. But that's what I'm doing now, and that's what I'm gonna do. So thank you for listening. I'll be back next week, hopefully, and have a good week. Stay safe. I love you all. Kisses.